There's a fascinating study done by Will Phelps and a team of researchers where they went to explore this very specific thing. What they did is they took groups of people and they would have those groups of people working together and they were all trying to accomplish something and they'd get a reward if they won. And what they did is they took those groups, but in some of those groups, they would put one negative person, and that one negative person, they were an actor and they were specifically supposed to act a specific way. Sometimes that actor would just sit there, they wouldn't help, they wouldn't contribute, they'd just be kind of an anchor pulling everybody down. Sometimes they're sarcastic and they'd cast out jabs and negative statements and make cutting remarks. And then sometimes just pessimistic. It'd just be doubtful, kind of like that Eeyore character that we saw from Winnie the Pooh, kind of like that. So they had different situations. Now the results from this were pretty incredible. Groups with just one negative person on the team would, on average, perform 30 to 40% worse than the teams that didn't have the negative person on them. The other interesting thing that happened was that negativity often wouldn't just stay with that one individual. It started to spread and infect the other team members. So that one person would cause this ripple effect that would cause the other people in those teams to actually also have negative experiences. I mean, if you think about the ramifications of this, it can be huge, not only just for business, but also for our personal lives. Now, I'm going to go a little bit on a limb here, but I don't think it's much of a limb, because if you hear what I'm going to say, you're going to be like, oh yeah, Jason's probably right. I think that humans naturally like to kind of absorb and match the energy that's put out into a room. Now, the interesting thing is, if most humans just like to absorb and reflect the same level of energy that's in a room, that means a true leader has the opportunity to lift that energy higher, just like the negative person or those negative actors could lower that energy in those groups. So do you have any negative friends that influence you and bring you down? Do you have negative people that work for you, work in your team or in your company? Do you have negativity that's anywhere in your life? Think about that. When I asked that question, what popped into your mind? Who popped into your mind? Because if there's somebody that's playing that role, probably what you need to do is figure out a way to put more space between you and them. Sometimes, if you're the owner or the manager or the boss, you can fire them. Sometimes you can't. But the cool thing is on the flip side, if you're an effective manager, you can sometimes help that person to move from that negative, pessimistic, sarcastic person over to a different energy level. So if people like to absorb the energy that's put out into a room, and you have two people competing, one trying to lower and one trying to raise, those two energies I think are going to conflict and somebody's going to come out on top. So each of us have an opportunity to push our energy out into the space around us. Whether we're going to be pessimistic, whether we're going to be positive, we have an opportunity to push that energy out, and we can set the tone. We don't have to let somebody else set the tone. We can set the tone, whether it's friends, whether it's coworkers, whether it's an employee, whoever, and we can decide how we're going to push and what level of energy we're going to accept. Now, sometimes you can remove that person from the organization, but if you can't, you can always lead. Remember, oftentimes the most dangerous person in the room isn't the loudest. They're the ones that are either quietly, deliberately, or maybe even they're not aware, but they're bringing the energy and the potential down for the entire team. But on the flip side, you have the power to stop it.